Let's move on to topic number 8. Amazing topic. One topic that I would love to cover and I wanted to cover, so I made it a topic on this show. And that's our F1 spotlight this week, which is on the driver Charles Leclerc, the young superstar out of Monaco. I personally love him, one of my favorite drivers on the grid. So I wanted to give him some extra love and give him some extra coverage.
Yeah, no question. So, the F1 is seeing a lot of young, good drivers right now. And Charles Leclerc is one of those guys. We've been talking a lot about Verstappen. He's 23 years old. Leclerc is 23. Leclerc made his debut back in 2018. That was with Sabre, I believe. It wasn't with Ferrari. Sauber, excuse me. And then 2019 is when Ferrari, elevated him to where he is now. He actually had a couple of nice wins in his first season with Ferrari back in 2019. This year, he's only hit the podium once. He just finished second at Silverstone, but he's had a nice season. I think he's 6th in points this year. He's got about 80 points just in front of his teammate, and he's had a good year despite not getting to the podium more than once. So he's one of these young guys who is going to be a superstar in F1 for years to come. It's been a few years now where Ferrari hasn't been one of those top teams in F1. We always think of Ferrari as this, ferocious car, the red car that's always cool. Ferrari's that Italian sports car, brand, and everybody always associates Ferrari with winning on F1, and it's been a few years now where they've been one of the top couple of teams. They're certainly trailing Mercedes and Red Bull. So, and if they don't look out, some of the other, McLaren and some of the other teams might leapfrog them as well. But I think Leclerc really helps them kind of lock a good position down in F1 right now. But I mentioned, all the young guys in F1, Lando Norris. I mentioned Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, who's now 26. So you've got guys 26 and younger, a bunch of guys that age that are really the stars of F1. Lewis Hamilton is obviously in his 30s. You got a couple other guys, in their 30s that are, starting to sort of fade out. Not that Lewis Hamilton is, but you've got all these young drivers in F1 that are going to carry the sport for a long time, and Charles Leclerc is one of those drivers.
Yeah, I think Charles is really one of the best drivers on the grid. If you really give him a car to compete up there in the front, he will make it happen. I think specifically this year, he has been driving the wheels off of this Ferrari, which, like you said, it's a historically great team. But right now, they're probably honestly a midfield team, and it's a midfield car. And he's been bringing it to the front, just got it on the podium at Silverstone after leading 50 laps. Arguably had a chance to win. And so it's just really one of those things where I think he is out driving the car, certainly out driving his teammate and Carlos Sainz, which we were just showing a lot of coverage of Carlos Sainz there with that Ferrari coverage. I guess Ferrari loves Carlos Sainz, and I would too. You got two great young drivers paired up right now out of Ferrari. The Tifosi must love it right now because Charles Leclerc, I think, is personally one of the best drivers on the grid. I think, honestly, he's up there with Lewis Hamilton, with Max Verstappen. If you give him a car that can compete with them, I think you'd be seeing 3 cars battling it up there, honestly. And like we just said, he was sitting behind that incident at Silverstone and was quick to pounce and take advantage of the contact there and go to the lead and then put himself in position to be able to win, and then get second overall in the race and get himself his first podium of the year. But like you said, go back to his first year in Ferrari. He got himself several wins and was up on the podium multiple times. And hey, people want to say, obviously, Ferrari had that potential illegal engine that year, but I don't care. Charles Leclerc still had to drive it up there, had himself a great year that year, getting on the podium and getting several wins. And then now, hey, with that engine toned back and regulated, guess what, people? He's still driving his car up to the front and consistently scoring points and having a chance to be able to win. Arguably, right now, I would say he is the best of the rest, but you got Lando Norris up there right now being the only driver that has scored in every race this season for McLaren. and he's got that McLaren team up there, and he's ahead of Charles Leclerc right now. So it's really those two are going to be battling it out to see who is going to be the best of the rest, besides obviously a Red Bull driver or a Mercedes driver, who are the two best cars on the grid right now. But yeah, Charles Leclerc is the man right now. Like you said, a young superstar, still got a lot to do in F1. And I'm telling you, they love this guy. We've talked about people with movie star looks. Charles is just another one of those guys. Has got the movie star looks. He's got the longest job security in F1 right now because he's locked up with his contract until 2025. Everybody else is going to be looking for a new contract come a year or two from now. And Charles is going to be still at Ferrari and still helping drive this team back to championship dominance, which we all expect the prancing horse to be. So, I love Charles Leclerc, and I know a lot of other people do. So we wanted to just give him a lot of other coverage because I think he's been undercovered this year. Nobody's been giving him enough credit for what he is getting done with this car right now. And like we always say in F1, if you're not going to compare them to, like the top cars and everybody else, and Max and Lewis, will compare him to his teammate. And we always do that. You always get compared to your teammate. Number one, compared to Carlos Sainz, he is driving the wheels off this car right now and consistently putting himself in front of Carlos Sainz and having a chance to challenge the likes of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton up front at these Grand Prix. So I love Charles Leclerc. I really hope when we get the new regulations that Ferrari is driving hard to be able to give Charles Leclerc a chance to have a championship car.
Yeah, no question. And you go back to 2019 and the two victories that he had. One of them was the Italian Grand Prix. So you think Ferrari gave a crap about what the engine was when he won the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari? I don't think so. So, this guy is one of the superstars of the future in F1. And like you mentioned, his contract, the last year of his contract is 2024, I think, and then he might leave in 2025. So, but we'll see where Ferrari is at that point. So, he's going to be a guy that's going to be in the spotlight for a long time, along with Verstappen. And it could be, whenever Lewis Hamilton decides to leave the sport, it could be Leclerc and Verstappen going at it. They're the same age. Yep. They've been very successful already. So we'll see if it's those two guys going neck and neck for that top spot throughout the season once Lewis Hamilton decides to hang it up. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.